How many of you really watch shows with a black lead that's not a stereotypical lead? How many of y'all go out and support projects with black directors, black writers? How many of y'all go to the comic book store and seek out black comic books with black writers and black colorists and artists and whatnot? The reason why I say this is because for maybe a good 30 years now, I've heard criticism after criticism of not enough black characters, and then when you do see them, we nitpick them or we don't support them. Let me explain to you what I mean by this. I've said it time and time again. I'm a TV head. I've watched enough movies and TV where you had black characters on it, and white folk always found something to complain about, and black folk. But let me go back to Richard Pryor when Richard Pryor was in Superman 3. Richard Pryor was part of the most famous comics during that time frame. But not Bill Cosby, Richard Pryor started to do movies where he was more in the middle of the road. You know, he wasn't as edgy as he was back in the 70s. Now, some theorize because he had that drug scare. That could be lit too. Or maybe he finally realized that he can't do those type of things and maintain the living he wanted to. Others theorized that he knew he was sick longer than what he admitted. That could play a part in it. But I think what it was is that he knew that he couldn't play the jive talking, curse, the swearing comic too much. But the thing is, when he was casting Superman 3, everybody, oh my God, Richard Pryor, it was hyped up. And then when he played the character he played, people were disappointed. Now, going back, looking at it, yeah, superhero movies and TV shows are different than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago. Vastly different. Technology, the costumes, the way they look at it, everything, right? When I was a little boy and I finally saw Superman 3, I like the fact that you had the dark Superman, number one. Number two, I always liked the wire work in the Superman movies. I think it got way better on the Superboy TV show, but I digress. But we know what I liked about Richard Pryor, not just the comedic elements, he was smart. He was a computer genius. He had created something that could stop Superman not once but twice. Remember, he created the synthetic kryptonite that made Superman a darker version of himself, show his inhibitions. Even though he's the bad guy, it still took genius. Then he created a robot that became self-aware. Now, now people don't know that's supposed to be Brainiac, but for whatever reason they had a budget and the studio didn't want to go through with it. But nonetheless, because Superman 3 took more of a comical turn, they didn't blame the director. They didn't blame the writers or the producers or the studio. They blamed Richard Pryor because you got to blame the black guy. Yeah. To this day, Richard Pryor, people, if you just go online, when you hear people talk about Superman 3, they don't blame the director, they don't blame the writer, they don't blame producers, they blame Richard Pryor. If you go back and watch Superman 3, it was scenes where Richard Pryor actually was acting serious in it, but he had to be a comic because he was a comic. It was expected of him. But I thought it was a kid. I'm like, he's the bad, somewhat of a willing bad guy. He's still smart. Then various TV shows have popped up over the years. You know, like I said, Kim Field's mother, she played on the 70s Spider-Man show. She was Peter's best friend, but she's also able to handle Peter and J. Jonah Jameson. The producer of one of the producers of Luke Cage, if I'm not mistaken, Hilly Hicks Jr., if I'm not mistaken, or one of the Marvel shows. I think it's Hilly Hicks Jr. or Luke Cage or one of the shows. His dad, Hilly Hicks Sr., was Robbie Robertson in the first Spider-Man TV movie. They kept him around one episode. The idea that a young brother is on the show being a co-boss next to the white guy. I mean, look what they did to Bill Nunn in the Spider-Man movies. He was there, but he's basically like a sidekick. He was there. They just said, let's put a black actor in just to be there. But in the comic or the animated series with the animated series Spectacular Spider-Man, they treated the characters. Notice all the characters they show with the racially diverse. In the comic, all of them were white. All of them were white except Robbie Robertson and his son. Go back and watch Spectacular Spider-Man that was on the Kids WB. It got canceled before its time because Sony, which Columbia, butted in, and then Marvel, they was just back and forth and everything. I mean, not Marvel butted in because Sony was done under Sony, and Marvel butted in because Marvel wanted to get the rights back to Spider-Man, so they canceled the show because the producers of Young Justice and Gargoyle and them was on that Spectacular Spider-Man show. Probably about the best Spider-Man show since the 1990s, which had a black producer over John Semper. Yeah. Black guy, brother ran this Spider-Man. That's why they talk about, but don't talk about in the same acclaim. They talk about Bruce Timm and Batman. How many of y'all knew those things? When Star Trek Deep Space Nine premiered, Avery Brooks' character was Commander Sisko, not Captain Sisko. Even though they had him on the cover with Patrick Stewart, William Shatner, and then Kate Mulgrew came after. They gave him a sci-fi promotion in season 3, became Captain. And Avery Brooks went to the producer and said, this is what I want my character to be. She shaved his head off because he got tired of growing his head. He went to the goatee because I think the producers didn't want people to be confused with his man called Hawk persona. But at that time, a lot of brothers were shaving their head off, and it made sense. And the tone of the show even got strong because the character became more emboldened, more powerful. They had a father-son dynamic on the show, a positive relationship. He was a widower. Him and his son had a loving relationship. They had a healthy relationship. This was sci-fi, folks. But you get a lot of sci-fi fans criticize it. But it's probably the strongest written Star Trek series of them all, and it influenced modern day science fiction. How many of you brothers and sisters watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine? How many of y'all actually support these projects? They do have a black face or a black lead in it, or black writers and stuff. The reason why I bring this up is because I noticed that we complain, but we don't make our voice heard. I mean, if y'all go back, the first 2 seasons of Deep Space Nine was kind of slow. I was trying to find its footing. Because I was trying to find its place in the Gene Roddenberry created universe, and it's trying to go. It was the Next Generation was still on when Deep Space Nine premiered in its first season. But when Deep Space Nine was in the second season, they was talking about Voyager. So Voyager was taking all the spotlight. So Deep Space Nine came in middle child. But Deep Space Nine was the most complicated. What did the sci-fi fans talk about Deep Space Nine? Next Generation had a Blu-ray restoration release. Multiple DVDs stuff been sold, multiple reunions and stuff, but Deep Space Nine is the one they ignored because he had the black captain. Go on social media sites, they criticize Deep Space Nine, but they praise other movies and TV shows. I knew once they started complaining about Deep Space Nine, it would have never made it to the big screen. It should have. But too much time. It's been off the air 20-some years now. It ain't gonna happen. Avery Brooks, he's 70-some years old. He basically is done with Star Trek. Matter of fact, fans get mad because he didn't go to the recent convention over in Europe or the UK. The man went against his word twice back in the early part of when Enterprise was on, and as far as 2011, he did the Captain's DVD. And he's deep. A lot of times white folks don't want him to talk about that. He talk about because Avery get deep. He talk about the influence. He said they have a black man running a captain, and we still hear that far in the future. He said that's very important. Even the writers, the producers of the show had to acknowledge the racism and things of nature. That's why I like Deep Space Nine. It's a deep show. But a lot of people can't, they don't want to give respect. If you notice when they show images of Avery Brooks, of the captain, he's behind everybody else, depending on how they got it. You got William Shatner, Patrick Stewart, it should have been Avery Brooks, then Kate Mulgrew, then Scott Bakula, then Chris Pine, and whoever come along. But Avery Brooks is always behind. Even when they do the last movie, they gave Kate Mulgrew character a promotion because she came Admiral, but they didn't show Avery Brooks' character. Now I know the way Deep Space Nine was written, but they gave brought Wesley Crusher back, even though he didn't have his flies was cut. They brought him back in the movie. He had a cameo. They could have easily said, okay, because they really never explained why Worf character's back on the Enterprise, because he supposed to be in one of the Klingon Empire, some liaison or something like that. But they knew the white audience wanted to see the white female captain. When Star Trek Enterprise premiered, they had talked about the Anthony Montgomery character, Travis Mayweather. He was the helmsman. He was a boomer. He went out in space. His character should have been even more important to the show than what he is. But they wanted to focus on the white characters. In the last season, Manny Cotto, who I think he did other sci-fi shows, they started writing just a little bit towards him. And if the show was allowed to go longer than the 4 years it went, we probably would have got some more episodes centered on Travis Mayweather. But it's the sci-fi fans that sit there and say, we don't want to see him. I'm telling you, go on these message boards. That's why they be talking about how diverse Star Trek fans are. Maybe the ones that go to the conventions are diverse, but not only as diverse as they are. LeVar Burton and Michael Dorn even had issue with how the fandom would respond to black characters or the writers and whatnot. But see, there's enough black folk that like science fiction and animation and comics could push against that. Look what we did for Black Panther. But see, y'all only went because it was a Marvel movie. There's tons of black characters out there. Like when Black Lightning came out, the first thing they said, why I gotta be Black Lightning? The character always been called Black Lightning. I didn't take offense. I understand if some people took offense to it, but you have to understand 1970s Black pride, everything black this, black that. And Black Lightning, I don't get mad because he's a black guy. Black Lightning, you can play around with that so many ways, or you can be offended by it so many ways. Go on the storyboard, when it premiered, everybody, oh man, this is a good show. Listen to the white fanboys, it's kind of slow. I enjoy it because it's a more realistic take on it as far as you can get in science fiction and comic book, but I like it. It's what happens if a hero really exists in the world. It's doing the same thing Luke Cage did. It's saying, hey, we may not have these fantastic villains just yet, but it's coming because they setting it up. And it is gonna come a time where Black Lightning gonna have to do a crossover with Supergirl and them, but they waiting their time, and it may never happen. But if it does, hey, great. How many of y'all go to the comic book store or go into a bookstore and say, oh, I see this issue of Batwing, or I see this issue of Superman where they got these black characters? They're black characters. There are writers that have been suspect over the years have introduced black characters in their show. Brian Michael Bendis, he the one that created the Miles Morales Ultimate Spider-Man, right? He's currently over at DC Comics writing Superman. But he's introducing black characters over there. He the one that created Jessica Jones and brought Luke Cage back to prominence. He said he wanted his black children. Yeah, he got black. He's a white Jewish dude. He said he wanted them to be able to see characters that look like them. A lot of these white writers mean well, but there are also black writers out here that are struggling. How many of us went out there and say, okay, you know what? It may not be the greatest comic book, may not be well written. Let's go support the brother and them. So Marvel and DC said, wait a minute, if they're going to buy Black Panther or Captain, what's the old boy now? I can't think of his name now. Crap. Sorry about that. Ta-Nehisi Coates, right? He's currently writing Captain America. That should be a big thing that, a black man, I mean, it shouldn't be, but it is. We consider how many these books that brothers don't get to write and sisters don't get to write, that these top tier comic books. The late writer, Dwayne McDuff, him, Denny Cohen's, and Michael Davis, not forget the other brother. They created Milestone Media in the 90s. Now, people kept calling it the Black Comic Company. It wasn't a Black Comic Company. It had to be black creators. And they had well-written stories, and DC was publishing it for them. At that time, Image and them, was out there kicking everybody's ass. You had Frank Miller, John Byrne, Art Adams, and what's the name that went over to Dark Horse. They created a Legend imprint that really didn't go anywhere. But the fact at that time, there wasn't a lot of diverse characters. Thank God that these Warner Brothers saw that Static was doable, and they created Static. Everybody enjoyed that cartoon. They just started releasing it last year, part of this year, this year, excuse me. Or was it last? Yeah, this started last year into this year, released it on DVD. And people say, why it took so long? Because DC didn't create it. DC distributed, Warner Brothers distributed it. And Dwayne McDuffie passed away. A lot of people don't realize a lot of them Justice League episodes or Ultimate, what's that? Justice League Ultimate, what it is, that came on Cartoon Network. He wrote a lot of them episodes. A black guy. He wrote Ben 10, Static Shock, which he co-created. But since he died, you had to get, and the partners all got to be in agreement with what was going on. But thank God, Young Justice got some of the characters popping up in Young Justice. If you go watch the first 2 seasons, you see Rocket, you see Icon, you see Static Shock. Even though they don't call him Static, you got him in there. And the old boy that played Richie on Family Matters, he's the voice of that version of Static. I don't know if he's that voice of Static of an upcoming show, but I think Black Lightning supposed to play a part in Young Justice and Static. DC even went as far as to make Cyborg a part of the Justice League, and they did the reboot because he was originally a Teen Titan. If you know, they've been pushing Cyborg. That's why they put him in the Justice League movie. Black folks should be like, oh man, they promote him, but then they say, oh, why can't we be this character? I'm like, y'all, you have to understand, a lot of these characters were not created by black people. A lot of them have the idealized version of them. Like when I see Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster were 2 white dudes, Jewish dudes, that created Superman back in the 30s. Back in the 30s, they was not going to put a black man in a comic book unless he was a sidekick and a grotesque caricature of a black person. You don't believe me? Go look at Will Eisner's Spirit with his black sidekick, how he like a damn monkey. But guess what? There are black Supermen who are called, there are black guys who call, let me rephrase it, there are black guys who are called Superman. Whether they call Clark Kent or not, or some other character, they carry the mantle of Superman. But how many of y'all read the current Superman books, or read Superman for the last 20 years, or the last 10 years, in fact? But see, if you're a black comic fan, you guys will know that. But see, a lot of y'all are not comic fans. A lot of these people are trolls. Like, let me pull the image up and I'll show you what I mean. You see this Superman right here? He's supposed to be based upon Barack Obama. I forget his name. But he's actually a Superman. He has the same powers. Now, he's not Clark Kent. He's not Clark Kent. Even though there are some versions where they do call some of them Clark Kent. He's his own Superman. Now, when they was talking about Henry Cavill not playing Superman anymore, they was talking about Michael B. Jordan. These are one of the Supermans that he could very well be playing. But you had some white folks, no, man, I won't support it. You had some black folks say, why you can't be another character? Well, guess what? As I said before, comic books have changed. It's not like years ago you can create a character and the company had time to publish it and develop a fan base. These kids don't read comics like this anymore. They play video games. They wait for cartoons and movies. Well, they don't even do the cartoons anymore. Because you notice the network don't even do cartoons anymore. You got to go to Cartoon Network, and they all slapstick comedies with crazy looking animals and shit. So basically, video games and movies, how they get they comic book fix. But y'all, man, well, why they create an original character? This is an original character. He just got the name Superman, but just his personal background, all that stuff is different. It's original. He just carried the name Superman. But a lot of y'all say, why can't it be a black Superman? Okay, when you get it now, you complain about it. And a lot of times he be trolls and be bitching. But then here go another Superman. This is the Van Zod Superman. Now this is more than likely what they will focus on. This version. Yeah, he's another Superman. The House of Zod. If you watch Krypton, you know on Krypton, Zod family line, they're all black in the show. Y'all need to pick up on that stuff. See, I guess what I'm trying to say is there are black characters, whether it be at Marvel or DC, animation or cartoons or comics and stuff. But if you guys don't watch it or support those projects or demand better quality, they're not gonna take chances with it. Like Mr. Terrific. How many of y'all know that Mr. Terrific intellect was next to Batman or better than Batman? Because if you watch Justice League, they hinted at it just a bit. Old boy that played Michael Beach initially played his voice. You know, the brother played in Soul Food and Lean on Me as the teacher that threw the desk on Mr. Clark. He's then I forget the brother that did Static Shock. He was on he used to be on Mad TV. He does all the voices. I can't think of the brother. He was in Pulp Fiction, the black guy that he was the one that he almost survived being not getting killed until John Travolta actually pointed the gun and shot him in the car. I can't think of his name right now. He did the voice for Green Lantern on the Justice League as well. Phil Lamar, that's his name, Phil Lamar. He did Samurai Jack voice. He does a lot of voiceover work and stuff. He's a comic fan. And he was even saying that more blacks got to get involved in it. When you look at these TV shows, they'll put a black female on a panel, but they don't put black dudes on the panels. Not because on YouTube, I've seen a lot of black channels, male-centered channels get taken down. How many of y'all think about the Power Rangers? The first black leader on the Power Rangers was the Red Turbo Ranger. He took over for Tommy. Because matter of fact, they mentioned that one episode they did Forever Red. He said Tommy, one guy said he really is the greatest Power Ranger. And he said, I don't know about that. Remember, I took over from him. You know, that kind of thing. You had and even when they went into different colors, he was still a valued part of the series. How many of y'all talk about that? Don't get me wrong, I like the fact that y'all went and supported Black Panther. But there are other black characters out there, and a lot of y'all bitch and moan about, well, this character is this, well, we want an original character. It doesn't work that way a lot of times. Right now, they got an animated Spider-Man movie coming out right now with the Miles Morales character. And let me say something before we go any further. They keep identifying him as a mixed character. He's not mixed. Where's that picture at? Let me see. Where is it at? Right here. They say he's mixed black and Puerto Rican. He's black. Puerto Rican is not white. He's not mixed. He's a black superhero. And guess what? He was very popular. Brian Michael Bendis helped create him as well. They brought him to the main Marvel universe. And matter of fact, the stuff that you see in Spider-Man, the recent Spider-Man Homecoming movie, they took it right from the Ultimate storyline. Ned Leeds, his best friend in the movie, in the comic book, that supposed to have been his friend, the Asian dude. A lot of what you saw in Spider-Man Homecoming was in Ultimate Spider-Man. If you go back and read the boards, they'll tell you, everybody said, this is nothing but Ultimate Spider-Man. Because they didn't make so many Spider movies, they had to make it different. So they took from the Ultimate Spider-Man. They took from the black character. Now, if you guys were comic fans, black comic fans should have been really pissed off about that, but y'all didn't say anything. Oh, I meant to, my Mr. Terrific. I knew what I was about to say about Mr. Terrific. He's the smartest next to Batman. He's an Olympic class athlete, but on Arrow, it turns to a gay black man who's awkward and he's a sidekick. He's supposed to be more aggressive. But I guess they figured Diggle on it. They couldn't put another strong black man on it, but they got everybody else in the show strong. That's because we don't support things and write things. Like I'm telling you right now, when they canceled Luke Cage, they did that on purpose. It was highly rated. And I see some people saying, well, the reason why Luke Cage ratings fell off because he married to a white woman. Really? If that's why y'all started watching, then y'all wasn't fans anyway. But nah, what it was, because Luke Cage was getting ratings, they said, okay, we got to get rid of it. And then the white fanboys started bitching. At first, it broke Netflix, and also they started bitching and moaning. Then I see some people claiming they black. Well, the reason why I don't like because the bad guy. Well, guess what? That happens, but the show actually got even better the second season. It was well written. And what it was, they didn't like the fact that these black writers, supposed to be hip hop writers or hip hop, and come up with that flavor, that feel. That's why I like Black Lightning. But guess what? Y'all gonna wind up fucking that up. They're gonna cancel that if you don't watch it. There are enough black comic fans out here to voice their opinion and be proactive. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, people complain about Iron Fist. They complain because it wasn't an Asian character in the fight scenes, okay? And the show was kind of slow. They wanted to be more pop and bang. You ain't gonna get that in every superhero show. I enjoyed it for what it was, but Luke Cage, that cancellation bothered me. That bothered me. And they kept Jessica Jones because they want to piss off white females. Because I think Luke Cage is stronger than Jessica Jones. Luke Cage premiere season was way stronger than Daredevil premiere season. I mean, Daredevil was good, don't get me wrong. Daredevil's second season was kind of weak. They didn't gave Punisher said, but I think this is Netflix and Disney got doing this shit. But the fact is, they didn't cancel Jessica Jones. They get ready to start shooting Jessica Jones. They already shot the second season of Punisher, so that's in the can already. Daredevil's already can. But they had the scripts ready for season 3 of Luke Cage. And they would never, if they thought the ratings was bad, you think they would start breaking scripts and all that stuff? No. What it was, Netflix and Disney's bitching. And don't be surprised if it come back on the Disney stream site, and they just don't want to. Netflix don't want to admit that they mad at Disney. But if it's gone the way of Inhumans, then okay, fine. But I'm upset because here we go. You have black character in the black show. Black folks watch Netflix, or at least they watch this. Because you can't tell me that you went and supported all that Black Panther stuff, all that Wakanda, and then you got another Marvel property that you ain't watching. It don't make any sense. But then again, we can be fickle because we didn't go see the Black Klansman. So a lot of that can be put on us as well, folks. But my thing is, if you don't know enough about the genre, if you don't support certain things, they're not going to promote it. They're not going to greenlight. They're not going to waste their time. And y'all keep saying we can create our own. It's easy said and done. You had to get to these platforms like me. I would have been had my own social media site. But when you got the big boys, got the money and the resources to thwart your every move, you had to play a certain game. See, if like Blade, Wesley Snipes is the one who created this modern day renaissance of comic movies, but they don't even want to acknowledge that. We don't even acknowledge it. We don't make a big stink out of it. Wesley been dropping hints about bringing Blade back. Marvel like, nah. But black folks say, wait a minute, yo, man. Wesley the one that made it possible for Spider-Man and X-Men and all these movies to come across. Made it possible for Smallville and Birds of Prey and all these different shows. It was Wesley Snipes that kicked this shit off. A black man. Like when Tim Story did Fantastic Four, I admit the first Julie Mann wasn't a perfect villain, but people nitpicked that movie because they knew it was a black director. But yet you see it all the time airing on cable. They still selling DVDs. It made money. But when there's a black person, they nitpick it, they nitpick it, they nitpick it. Then after a while, we start nitpicking it. And half these people ain't not diehard comic fans who don't understand these shows and the background of these characters and stuff. So I guess what I'm saying, if you don't know about it, shut up. But if you want to support it, and support it the right way. Let your voice be heard. Right now, how many of y'all writing letters to Marvel, or not Netflix, to Marvel, saying, yo, when Disney get their stream, bring Luke Cage back. See, Netflix and Disney is going to end their partnership at the end of this year anyway. So, of course, Netflix wasn't going to renew Luke Cage or Iron Fist. Because it's not going to be on, they're not going to greenlit it. And they probably had to wait, because they work together as a joint venture. They might have to wait so many months to say, okay, this is completely a Disney project or Marvel Studios production with ABC Television. Because you know when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. come on, they say in conjunction with ABC Television, that's what they're going to partner up with, or they're going to probably send it to Free. Now Free Fall is more the teenage oriented type thing. But I'm tired of our people complaining about black superheroes or black characters and you don't support them. And if you do, you don't do it the right way. You nitpick about little things or things you don't understand. Let your voice be heard. Now, I'm not saying every black character is well written and you guys support, but some of y'all just nitpick, and it's annoying after a while.